Good morning, everyone. It is the 20th of May, and we are looking at EU on the daily time frame. So what we can see is that we haven't got the best price action going on, and it's likely we will get a daily break of structure. As you can see, we have this kind of area. Yep, so this kind of area where price was expected to pull back from like it did here. It was meant to come up and not break this high. However, we broke the high and we're expected to now take out this high and shift to bullish market momentum. As we can see on the US dollar index on the daily, we are breaking major lows and we're expected to take out this low too. Looking at it on a weekly time frame, we've got an engulfing candle, meaning that we're breaking through structure and we are forming new lows. And even on the monthly, it's a huge rejection, and the month is on the end side right now. So back on Euro US dollar, onto the daily. We do expect that daily high to be taken out over here. So how can we trade Euro US dollar? So we have to be very careful. So market structure isn't too clear at the moment. But if I was to zoom out a bit, I'd see that I have this institutional order block over here, really clean. Again, this is on the daily, so that's quite high up. We are expected to get back up there if we are going to continue a down move, because this high aligns with structure here, here, and in a way here. And zooming right back, you can see it also aligns with loads of structure. So that could be a really nice area to trade off of. The daily supply failed. So we had a supply form over here and it failed, indicating that demand has regained control. Now, if demand has regained control, what are we looking for? Buys. So that's the only markup I'm going to do on the daily time frame. Let's switch to the 4-hour. Now, what can we see? So obviously we've got this bit of a range, and then we have this sort of wick formed over here, which was meant to be our 4-hour supply. Yes, we saw a reaction, but it seemed somewhere in here, demand regained control, pushed up along with news. So it's quite a tricky scenario to be trading. And from that, we can see this sort of high get taken out. But this high get taken out. So that's our 4-hour change of character. And then from there, if we kind of look to the left a bit, we can see with the structure that indicates a 4-hour break of structure. So we're in a bit of a demand regaining control, but potential supply moves from here. So I'm going to mark up that area. So we could have supply regaining control from here. That's potential area. So that's potentially the sells we could be looking for today. We need to be careful though, because the 4-hour break of structure over here and the change of character. So this is a break of structure as well. They indicate to us that demand is in control and we could see higher prices from here. So if we are to take sells, they would have to be very, very short term. So now kind of looking at it in more depth, you could consider that to be disregarded due to the fact that it's still in supply, so it hasn't actually changed character over there. But overall, it has changed character, causing a little break of structure. And the reaction to that daily supply we were talking about earlier over here failed because it reacted and broke through. And the 4-hour change of character would be around here. That's where my change of character would be. Reason being is because that's the high that respected the demand, the supply zone. So this should kind of be our supply area, but we've broken through that, causing a change of character. And now we have a demand chain holding. So this is where the supply played off from here, and then it dropped, that caused that drop. Therefore, that was the next supply chain there. Kept going, came back up, and now today we're just moving slightly back up, so we could see us get into this zone. That would be a really nice zone to play potential sells off of. And then, of course, the daily change of character is visible with, I believe you can see it clearly on the 4-hour, but daily change of character is visible over here. So remove the break of structure and just leave the daily change of character. And that will be quite self-explanatory. So that's the change of character there. So supply chain formed, broke through. Yeah, so in terms of the demand chain holding, I am looking at plays off of this area of demand. So I'm now going to delete anything that won't help me with the trade that I'm planning to take. So literally everything except this supply and this demand. We'd have to wait for it to get into one of these areas and then drop to our 15-minute, maybe see a 15-minute change of character, then drop to our 1 minute and see a 15-minute change of structure, or 1 minute change of structure. So yeah, the demand chain is generally holding, and this would kind of be my entry level should it come back, because there's huge imbalance over here, this whole area. That's imbalance. You could even extend it there. However, we're not too sure because of these candles, so we leave it there. So that's our area imbalance. So we are expecting price to come down here. Whether it taps into that first and then comes down, that's another question. Now let's move on to our 15-minute time frame, and let's look at more recent market structure. Now, yes, we think that overall demand should move down here, but let's see where can we play demand off of right now. So I am looking at a bit of a liquidity wick over here. This is currently where demand is playing off of. 15-minute is quite a bullish time frame at the moment. And then we also have this area of demand. Then we have, I'm going to refine this zone, this area of demand, from there to there. And then last but not least, in fact, I'll keep this zone up and then I'll mark this separately, just to make things a bit more clear. That's a 4-hour zone, this is a 15-minute zone. And then finally, we have this zone over here. So these are potential playoff zones. So we do want to be looking out for price action on the lower time frame in these areas. So what am I looking for? I personally would think I'd want to see this supply fail right now, like within the next half an hour maximum. I want to see this supply fail. Then I want to see us come down, potentially break this low, it doesn't really matter, and then come into this area in specific. And from this area, we could see potential buys on the 1 minute. And if price action just shoots straight through it on the 15 minute, then we can look to go to 1 minute. Yeah, we are looking to break that supply, which means demand would be in control on the 15 minute. Again, we do have that change of character on the 15 minute. And we do have supply above, so we are kind of looking at a bit of a zone here for supply to play off of. So should that break, might not be enough. We need to see that high break for us to come down again. But should we get up to there, we could potentially see sells, but it wouldn't be strong sells because this demand chain would be in play. So if I want to take sells, I want to see the demand fail. So I'd look to this supply zone, look back, has this demand failed? No, it's not a valid trade. If I look over here and think, okay, it's a demand zone, we're playing off of that, supply is failing, is this demand zone below potentially a valid trade? Potentially, if we can see a breakthrough that higher time frame supply. Do we have any questions so far? No questions. Okay. So in terms of GPUSD, we're generally following the same kind of trend, except it's a bit different. On a daily, we are still looking at this potential area being supply. So we can't argue the fact that price is now in demand's control, because really it's still in supply. It hasn't broke through that demand zone, as has Euro US dollar. See, that was the demand zone. It's broke straight through that. So you have to be careful. Now, dropping down onto our 4 hour, what can we see? I can see quite bullish structure. However, you have to consider the fact that there is this area over here watching out for. There's liquidity over here, which was formed, was taken out over here. So in fact, I'm going to mark up as a liquidity sweep. Yeah, and then that's a high, so it's quite clear. In terms of potential plays, yes, we could be looking to go there. This could be liquidity areas, but realistically, if EU's in demand control, I'll expect G to be in demand control. So I am kind of looking for that 15-minute area of demand straight up. I don't need to waste my time kind of looking for sells right now. Like generally, we have supply here. I want to see that fail. I want to see us come back down. Potentially look at us testing this area or testing this area. Finally, may not come down all the way here, but could test this area. But I need to see supply fail first. So maybe that to break through, who knows? But my general overlook for today is looking at EU. It just seems a bit cleaner in terms of the structure. In terms of the structure, you can see. Overall, we are looking either going one or two ways, but we can get confirmations for those. We can just look, okay, with demands in control, let's buy. Expecting to break through supply, or supply is in control, let's drop to low time frame and look for entries. So here in this situation, you could be looking for either buys or sells. What's clearer to me are sort of sells at the moment overall, because we are still in that daily bearish movement. However, we have began for our demand control. So if I was to take a sell somewhere from there, it would look something along the lines of a 4-pip stop, up to a 4-pip stop, and then it would be a high risk reward trade, which is why I want to get in and get out quick. I probably wouldn't hold for the whole duration for it to come right down to take profit. I'd get in with a 4-pip stop, and then I'd take profits as soon as I'm at 2-3R, or partial profits, and then put my stops at break even. Hopefully that clears up any confusion around Euro US dollar. As you can see, we haven't broken that high yet. We've actually formed liquidity here. So yes, I am expecting that liquidity to be taken out, and we'll see where we go from there. But in a way, this is playing off of a supply chain. So we could still have supply and control, because supply, yes, that didn't get retested, but you formed this supply zone here. It was retested by that. This supply zone over here, retested by that. That supply zone here, retested by that. Came back down again, retested by that. And then supply zone, retested by that. Drop, demand in control, came back up, form liquidity. In fact, we haven't even broken this high yet. But yeah, could be that we're just in supply zone and we could look to come down. Again, this is on the 15 minutes, so potential sales are on should we break. Whew, that's a bit of a range. There's a liquidity above this area, loads. That's hard. I'd consider that to be a sweep, to be honest. That's the whole reason it went up. Sweep, nice impulse move. If we can come down and look to break this demand, which is playing off of this demand, then we could look to come right back up and trade off. Will be nice rounded numbers as well to trade from. Yeah, stops will be tight. So maybe look at it on a 3-minute perspective and get a better entry. Lower entry with 2-pip stop. Yeah, still stops are pretty tight, but then again, that plays into the fact that you'll get good risk reward. And yeah, look, this is potential demand, but considering we are now kind of breaking this high, yes, it's a liquidity week, but because we're breaking this high and this supply zone, yes, this is a potential trade should we come back up. However, I'm more looking towards the buy side. So if you ask me, I'd be looking to buy around that. Yeah, 2-pip stop is minimum. Target would be around this high, because yeah, it would be a low risk to reward only because you can't make your stops too tight, otherwise liquidity spreads will take you out. However, overall, on the 15-minute, what can we look to do? We can look to take out that liquidity over there, and we could look to see demand control. So we could be looking at really nice risk to reward here. Again, speculation, we need to be sure of it, see those confirmations. So yeah, hopefully that is quite clear. Do you have any questions? Keep in mind, this is formed a weak high because essentially formed a high that created a new low, and then we formed a new high, but that also makes that a weak low because it's not actually a new high, it's playing off supply. That concludes our call for today. If there's no questions, hopefully that makes everything clear. Try marking up the chart today. Maybe try sending in some charts into the chat and I'll have a look and give some feedback on it. Catch you tomorrow.